Hey, Ron. Yep, I'm getting there in a second. Just too busy stuffing around here with some stuff. Okay, that's good. It's amazing how long the setup every single time can take when you're doing streaming. Yep. Alright. Okay. So we got Ben, Nicholas, Steve. Hey, Steve. Doug Wheeler. Hello. James, hope you're not near the wildfires. No, actually, I'm quite a distance from them, but it's certainly a very significant event going on. Yes, Pedro, more iPhone trash to deal with. Greg, what happened with your Friday? Hey, microfix? Oh, great. YouTube's experiencing buffering. By the way, how's the audio? Hi, Diana. And Mr. Soderbridge. Alright. Well, it's going to be slightly out of sequence with this. We've got a whole bunch that I need to deal with. I've got a liquid damage that I have to detach. Now, it's already been running for a day and a half, so it's not super critical type thing, but anyway. Should we mark this? Where's my stickers? And wrong one, Paul. 4162. Yeah, audio's good? Great. Thank you. Hey, Kevin. Sync is okay. The wildfires affecting shipping at all? They are a little bit, but nothing too bad yet, thankfully. Mostly because at this point they're still in the regional areas, as opposed to the main metro and the coastal line. So for that, it's sort of, from a purely industrial business perspective, I'm thankful for that. But it's pretty damn tragic what they're going through. Okay, so this is supposedly liquid damage. Yeah. Alright. This is going to be one of those cases where the... Oh. Okay, let's switch over to the right screen, shall we? There we go. Yeah, so this is supposedly liquid damaged, and funnily enough it looks a lot less liquid damaged than some of the ones that people tell me aren't liquid damaged. Typical. Josh Dawson, well, thank you. Congratulations on making this stream. Let's see, I don't know why I'm going to bother marking the screws, because this thing's likely not going to ever go back together normally. Now, I know my red pen's around here somewhere. There we go. Hey, Travis. Ratmole. Okay, Ahmed. Kopaz is here. Why are you here, Kopaz? You shouldn't be off making your $1 million somewhere. Let's see, what was Greg's disaster? Phoned a client 2 weeks ago waiting for a response for deadline work. Spent over an hour battling with useless website this morning trying to order a $14 item for in-store pickup. So just a mess everywhere. Hey, Dylan Christopher, thank you. Come on, Paul, get that screw out. Why aren't you coming out? What's happened to you? Alright, that one's unscrewing itself from the board. So it's taking out the standoff with it. That's fine, saves me a job later. Looks like it's got an aftermarket battery in it. And the screen has been replaced, because there's no compression foam on the flexes. Doesn't look like one of mine. Seriously, is this liquid damage? Let's have a look. The microscope is on. It's weird. Microscope's on, but not getting a display. We'll have another shot. Hey Sonia. Q's. Hey Mr. Wayne Talia. Come on. Where's my... Ah, there we go. Do not puncture. We'll certainly try not to. Person said none of the markers are even off. What if they... It's weird. It was the screen, the one that took the hit. Or maybe they've put the wrong one in the wrong bag and they've actually... This one is... Because I've got another one, and the other one is got ghosting. See if we're back alive now. Go. Yes, the telltale crackle and then nothing. We should be back up. I'll put this on a separate magnetic pad. Stop the bad habit of doubling up things. Yeah, this one seems perfectly fine as well. Alright. That's very interesting. This one looks more original. It's been screwed in a little tight up here. You can see the metal plate is deforming inwards. Alrighty. Much confusion. Mad Techie, well, thank you. Thank you for dropping in. Whoa, I think I know what happened to this. I don't know if it was the water damage that did this, but just realised when they installed it, check that out. That would really, to me, would be a ghosting touch one. How did that even fit? No, that doesn't make sense. I can only imagine maybe that just happened when I closed up the... That's weird. That'd take a fair bit of force to do that in the right place. Alright, well, since I've reported as liquid damaged, I guess what I should be doing is I'll take it out completely. Maybe it's resting on the bottom side, maybe it came in through the SIM tray or something, but I just can't see it at this point. Man, the brightness is a little overshot. See if we can bring that down a little. See if I can get the right one. No, that's me. Wasn't very bright. Yeah, that should about do it. Okay. Joshua Fitzpatrick, please don't tell me that. I really don't need a memory short down on this one. I want the money, so therefore I want to repair it. Audio. Pedro, what do you mean audio's gone? Yeah. And now the annoying process of getting the 6 board out. I swear sometimes it takes longer than fixing these things. Great, that screws in a bit too tight. Nope, I have to use the 000 driver for that. Let's see if we can get that out. There we go. Triple zero, gotcha. Yeah, everyone's dishing out the terrible diagnoses here. That's fantastic. It could just be coincidental. Yeah, maybe they dropped it, and the what they thought was liquid getting into it or causing the damage was actually a physical knock. Come on. Don't be like this today. So this is 41622. Okay, well I can see there is something up here. Wouldn't expect that to take out the screen though. It was just the screen got upset and that was it. Decided to stop functioning. Chat's trying to make you feel like Lewis was here. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. That's not liquid, that's just flux from the solder job for the cable there, the backlight. What am I looking at here? I'm finding it hard to put blame down on this one. Let's see, let me get a test screen. Darren Jones, you are slightly. But, ach nee, Afrikaans praat nie, man. I really cannot speak Afrikaans. I'm too busy trying to learn Mandarin right now. That's fun. So not only do you have the language difference, you got the whole, well, everything's different. I'm guessing the screen spat the dummy in this one. We'll have a look. Toothbrush under there, stop accidental contact. Yeah, I think it's the screen spat the dummy. We'll just put the discrete cover over. Geez, Q's, go for the long screw damage? Well, everyone's really out for me to suffer today. Senpai, yes, Afrikaans has a very strong sort of accented type. I actually didn't mind it. I understood most of it most of the time. Particularly the swearing. With Mandarin, I find I can read it quickly enough, but I cannot, when I listen to it, it just throws me. This is taking a long time to boot. And we have a full boot, so... And touch is good. Alright. Yeah, okay, in that case, that's just a screen. Decided to have a bad day. So maybe we've just got a simple... I should have done this before I pulled it out. But to be fair, the reason why I wanted to pull it out is just in case there was liquid damage hiding somewhere underneath. And of course, if I go along and power it up with that liquid damage hiding, then it would be somewhat irresponsible of me. So in this case, I think we can say that we've just got a dead screen, get the screen replaced, and this one should be back up and running again. The person will be happy about that, because dead screen replacement is quite a bit cheaper than data recovery due to liquid damage. And I will do that after I've gotten the more emergency job out of the way. Yeah, I just have to sort of... I had to put the water damage one first so that I could catch any chance I had of getting it fixed. But now I can return to the normal jobs. Okay. We've got iPhone 7. That just jumps up and... God, I hate it when they do this. Yep. I really wish Apple would not by default have the raise to wake behavior. I find that it actually tends to kill people's data more than anything else. And we've lost our brightness again. What's going on with the... Oh man, this has got caked up goop in the... Ugh. Yep. Glasses. Yeah, you're probably thinking, why is Paul wearing glasses? It's because it's a cracked screen. And the last thing I want is flipping junk flying up into my eyes. Okay. Oh, this one. I remember this. I only did this like 4 months ago. Yep. Fun and games. Yeah, this one isn't audio issue. I do have another one that's got audio that I have to fix up, but that's my own personal experimental phone, and I need to see if I can get in touch with the person who used to own it, who gifted it to me, so that I can at least get it unlocked. Getting kind of sick of all these phones lying around that are locked. I just realised this is going to be a really boring stream now, because that liquid damage one was supposed to be the fun and games. Instead, it's just going to be sitting in at the local iPhone kiosk on a Saturday morning. What is this stuff? So some sort of red dirt, I'm guessing. I don't think customers realise sometimes how much cleaning we do of their phones when we get them. We got two that was supposed to be iCloud removed, and the customers never did. No, they never do. I honestly find the only way you can get them undone is if you can get it done before you declare that the phone is basically a write-off. The moment you say that phone is a write-off, you've basically lost your window opportunity to get the iCloud lock removed. Used to use my gun glasses, safety glasses, they would, yeah. Oh man, this thing's been through a bit of hell. Hey Rob Brown, my suits. Sid Avery, engage the safety approved squints. Oh. Yeah, that all works good and fine until it penetrates through your flesh. I used to hate doing or dealing with tri-wing screws, but this definitely makes life a lot easier. They're still awkward, but they're easier. Do you think an A1466 with USB issues are worth fixing? Both ports are highly intermittent. The device seems perfect. Definitely worth fixing. It's probably just the filter packs. No, probably just the data line filter packs. Or it could be just the ports are dirty. Take the board out, ultrasonic it, see what happens. Hey John Finn, you guys are suffering there. Or before they receive their data and pay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta get it done before the deal is done, because yeah, that's the end of the road. And it's pretty sad because most of the time, someone else out there could make use of, a phone like that. Particularly when it's an older one, like a 6 or even a 6S. No one's really caring that it's going to get reused. But then you lose that opportunity and it just becomes, well, if you're lucky you can use it for donors, but most of the time you've already got so many donor parts for them. You really want more working phones. Thank you, Samer. You too. I'm just warming up the glass so I can get the flexes off easy. Ugh, what a mess. I find it interesting that the normal 7 has 6 of these tri-wings on the side for the screen, but the 7 Plus only has 5. To be fair, the 7 Plus has an additional one down here, although it's a Philips, but still. Also, you can't interchange 7 and 8 side screws. They're similar, but not the same. At least not that I've found anywhere. Okay, so get this off. We're gonna need heat. We're gonna need heat. Sink is off. Blimey. This has had liquid all through it. Great, so we've got a genuinely liquid damaged one, and yeah. Oh well. Into the bin. Audio syncs off. Alright. I don't like that the battery has got what looks like shear damage. So what's happened is the phone's been dropped, and because the battery is a fairly heavy item, it's just slid down, and it causes wrinkling of the outer sheath. But I think I'm just going to have to let that one play out. And they got all their audio ports are pretty much choked up. I don't know how they even get reasonable audio out of this thing. Pretty amazing. Good old nose scratch again, as always. Okay. Let's Bring in the contender. 6, no. Here we go, 7. Is there a type of software to bypass screen lock? Not yet. At least not on normal type worker situation like here. I'm sure out there somewhere someone has stuff like in Israel or whatever where they do all the unlocks for 10,000 bucks plus. It'll be interesting to see what the checkmate exposure hardware fault brings about for us. I'm sure people are working pretty damn hard on that. A little bourbon. Damn, that stuff's rough on the body. Glad someone else has taken that hit. Do you give away any training courses in MacBook and iPhone repairs? Definitely not, because I'm not a training person. Finding someone who can do technical work and also does a good job with training, that's a pretty rare find. Because most of the time, most of the people who are good at their work, like this sort of thing, don't really have the disposition to also train people. It's more of a begrudging task. Because most of the time you just get frustrated and you just want to say, give it here, give me the device, give me what's broken and I'll fix it. It's not all the time, but I'm just saying in general it's not the most common sort of crossover to find. And I've tried a few times and it just isn't for me. Some days I just can't get these, because my blurry vision and without eyesight assist, like as in glasses, it can make lining up these tri-wings a little tricky. Just gotta go by feel. A bit like driving, or parking rather. You go by feel. When you hear the bang and feel the shutter, you know you've backed up a little too far. Lousy little mongrels. There's a broken connector on this. What the hell? Seriously? I don't need that happening. Now just put that plate on. I hope I got a spare. Probably down my last one. Yep. A pain in the butt. I could always transfer it. No, that's not going to be an easy transfer because you can't actually take this away, so you risk melting everything. It's the sort of thing that has to be done while it's still separated. What a pain in the butt. That's the kind of practice you don't need. Oh no, we've got the horrible 2020 jokes coming out. Should have known in hindsight. Have you had LASIK? No, I'm definitely not anywhere near needing LASIK. My vision is fine enough. It's just a case of, this is more old age type syndrome, where you find you don't have the ability to focus up close anymore, which is why you start holding objects further and further away from yourself. pain. What a pain. Wasted what, 5 minutes of my life? How'd that even get through testing, I wonder? And I hate those little... such high amount of stick on those. I don't know how many people tear those flexes trying to get those adhesive strips off. Okay. Broken home. Connector. Right, that's an RMA. I hate doing RMAs. The reason why I hate doing RMAs is because the amount of time it takes you to get them sorted out, it's almost not worth it. Almost. Yeah, Kevs, exactly, yeah. It's, you just start realizing, like, hey, I can't read the ingredients on that food label anymore. Things like that. And then you start discovering new features in your browser, like zoom. Like, oh my god, I need the zoom. Yep. I don't know why they do it. I really don't know why they do it. It's so sticky. Can easily destroy the flexes. Doesn't get any easier, yeah. Oh, subtitles on TV I've always been had on. That's because my hearing, yeah. It'd be nice if movie theaters had more subtitle type options. There's, every now and then there's a movie I wouldn't mind going seeing. Like I wouldn't mind going seeing 1917. But without subtitles it's not much point. Okay, what the hell's going on here now? Is this an iPhone 8 screen? What I'm squawking about is the fact that this metal plate doesn't want to sit in on this. Like I line it up here. Just needs a bit of a push. Wow. And this is why I do not believe in the whole screen replacements in 15 minutes type business plan. So there's just too many ways in which that 15 minutes gets gobbled up messing around with stuff like this. And you have got way too much adhesive on the back. You need to be toned down a bit. In the bin to refit, yep. Ghosting is a technique? What? Now, the ghosting thing is where the screen touches itself without you doing anything. That sounds a little wrong. I have a feeling this isn't going to line up properly when I close it up. Okay, let's try again. I've had some come in where people have replaced the screens prior and they didn't get the line up so well, and then you get that nice fat white spot building up under the on the bottom right of the screen. It's like, yep, that was a 15-minute kiosk. Jesus is here from the Dominican Republic. Welcome. Boring, boring. You should get lots of thumbs down on this screen, on this stream. So where's the soldering? Maybe we'll do that touch IC job. Yeah, I hate how it puffs up like that. We're gonna have to fiddle a bit, I dare say. Okay, let's get this home button in. Oh, Papa Frito. Well, it depends. Because everything else is upside down, doesn't it? It equalizes out. I see on Twitter that Dave Jones of EEV blog, he's gone down to Melbourne, and he was there barely an hour or so, and apparently someone spotted him as in a fan. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Not really. Ah, come on, Paul. It's taking way too long. Hey, Mark Bianco. Ooh, more coffee. Awesome. Thank you very much for that. $2 does actually get me a coffee around here, if I make it myself. Okay. The ear mesh is stuck to the flex, so I'm going to have to separate that with a bit of heat. I've seen some people just split them apart without a care in the world, and it terrifies me seeing them do that. So use a little bit of heat, please. Would Lewis make a good trainer? Absolutely not. Lewis would do it for the money until he can find a better way to make the money. But then he would do a lot of things for money that he wouldn't really want to. It's a case of desperation. And you gotta be, yeah. For someone like Lewis, training, if you're doing training, it means you're pretty damn desperate for money. The first opportunity you get to walk away from that, you take it. Some people do have an inherent teaching gene in them, so to speak, or it's in their personality and such. They've got the passion to teach, and I mean that's great. For a lot of us, we don't. For the rest of us, like Lewis, myself, and a couple of others, I imagine, we don't mind doing videos and of us doing the work. And if you happen to learn from that, then that's perfectly fine. But we don't want to have to stop every 10 minutes or even 5 minutes and explain what we're doing in more detail. It's more a case of like, see what you can acquire by watching what we're doing, but that's about it. Let's see. Oops, 2020 0104. I hate this black junk. I don't really have an effective way of clearing it out, as well as I want. And sort of clean up the worst of it, but it's always got that residual, that latent residue. Okay. Show if this works, because this is the last 7 black I've got, I think. Normally I keep around about 2 or 3, usually 3, of any given display, based on my typical sort of daily job count. So it leaves me with a spare in case I do something wrong, or what we just experienced today, whereby the actual part is faulty, and gives me one for the next job that day or tomorrow, until such time that I can get a replacement shipped in. Still, every now and then you do get caught out and you don't have enough stock. How long is my hair? Oh, hello Farnell, harbinger of CPU death. At the moment, not sure. Probably just a smidge short of a mullet. I have had it very long before, where it's gone down to pretty much down to my waist. That was some fun times. There's actually pictures of me on Facebook with that hair. But now, oh for goodness sake, now I'm too incompetent with screws. I do need it cut though. Honestly, I prefer to be a little bit more on the clean shaven, short hair side, but my wife likes me with a beard, or at least something around about this, preferably a little longer, and thus that is what I will have. Wow, what is wrong with me? Come on, Paul. All you gotta do is put the screw in the hole. Oh, no wonder, I'm using a flippin' Phillips head. There. That explains why nothing was going in right. Much better. Remember trying to teach my mum how to use a PC. She rings me each day and wants to know how to print YouTube videos. Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, that's the fun in games. Particularly, there's so much, what do you call it? Core knowledge, context, there's all that ground level stuff that has to be picked up before you can even get started with training people, and I think that's the bit that irritates me a lot. AP books. No, I'm actually doing quite fine here. It's perfectly pleasant day actually. Unlike the rest of Australia, the poor bastards down there suffering like anything. It's not fun being down in those bushfires, and I don't mean that in any sort of humorous way. It is really not fun. Okay, we didn't squash the cable. It's not quite sitting in right, but I'm going to blame the fact that this has been through hell. And we'll play the gambler's luck here and put the pentalabs in without first testing it. Okay. I really need to look at this microphone on the back here. That's not good. Yeah. That will be having about 0 effect. And you do need to have that one cleared open. Yeah, this is kind of like the iPhones Dr. Pimple Popper version. Let's just excise that junk out of that port. Let's see if I can get it out with some combo liquid. I don't know what it is, but it's reluctant. Oh, Bumbo, I'm glad to hear that. I'm creating mud here. There we go, breakthrough. Yeah, it always helps when you can find the right solvent for what you're dealing with. The camera needs a clean up too. Looks like there's a little rock in there. Fortunately, it's out of that little rock. Yeah, you can see it. It fortunately is out of the normal field of view, so that shouldn't cause any problems. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do much better with the mud in there, but that will at least let the noise reduction system work. So it's not perfect, but it's certainly a hell of a lot better than it was. Yeah, Stella, if you do about 20% water and the rest IPA, 90% IPA. Oh man. This honestly looks like it's got thrown off the truck or something into the mud pit. I can't really do anything about these ones. It's just too deep. I'm pretty sure. I don't think the speaker's on this side anyway. There's some microphones in there. Hey, Manil Barrett. Let's see what we can dig out, if anything. Of course, you got to be careful you don't actually make things worse by grinding the stuff into the ports. Good flippin' luck for that one. Yeah, this is volcanic dirt, which makes me wonder where they are taking it. They must be going up north or something. We don't really get dirt this colour around here much. And hopefully it's not cyanide pit dirt, but that's more yellow. Yeah, it does have a very clayish type consistency about it. Normally you see this sort of dirt predominantly up further north. Okay, let's see. Okay, that looks good, and I can hear it beeping too. Okay. Alright, it's good. Hello, that one's working. Fantastic, I'll get a little bit of money there. Put that aside until they turn up. Alright, well the next job we got, before we get back to the other ones, the fake liquid damage and stuff, is a more of a mechanical job now. We have got some poor chap's phone that, well, it didn't really have a good day, and I've already told him that it's not really, I wouldn't risk this phone. Like I wouldn't trust it anymore. I can straighten out the chassis and stuff like that, but I'm told him not to trust it. I said, you're better off just getting the data off it and walking away. They can't get the data off it right now, so the cheapest way for them to get the data off is for me to simply put a new screen on it, flatten out the chassis, or rather flatten out the chassis, then put a new screen on it. And then they can just do whatever they like with it afterwards. Oh man, battery's a wreck. I might just drop it into one of my existing spare chassis that I've got lying around. So just migrate the main board, put a new screen on it, the end. Because that battery's, there's no way that can get used. I think this one fell off the car or something like that. So fortunately I do have enough iPhone 6 bits and pieces lying around that I could probably do something with it. Yeah, it probably fell off, and that was the first level of damage. Then they backed up to find out what happened to the phone and ran over it. Okay. Yeah, I mean the SIM tray area is already crushed in. So I'd say we just migrate this to a spare chassis I've got floating around. Fortunately, I've known this person quite a while, and they're a long-term. Their family's a friend, so I don't mind sort of giving up one of my numerous chassis for them. It'd be nice if people did keep backups more consistently, but yeah, how often does that happen? Because if it was all on the iCloud, it'd be great. You just tell them to get a new phone, and 2 or 3 hours later, they've got all the things back. Damn it. Every now and then I get these screws in the iPhones that require that I use this blunt nose 000 driver. I don't know whether it's someone over torquing the screws in the factory and grinding out the heads, but it's annoying, I can tell you that much. I'm just glad I've got the driver. Yeah, I guess the problem with Station 240 is that they want the subscription for it, so they give you the 5 gigs or whatever they give you to start with. Yeah. So this is the difference between, so this here is the 00 Phillips, and this here is the 000 Phillips. So you can see that, yeah, the tip's truncated off. And at first I thought it was actually a faulty manufacturing, but in the end I realized now that they're actually the same, pretty much the same driver, and yeah, they've just taken that first 3/4 of a millimeter off. And it seems a little bit pointless initially until you get these very shallow Phillips head screws. And if you try to use the normal conical top, it just spins in there and doesn't do anything. Stellar Cellular, agreed, yep. 3 places or it's not there. With a lot of my clients, if they're doing data recovery or whatever, I will keep a copy myself on my servers until I've got absolute confirmation that they have backed up the backup that I gave them. And then of course there's always the device itself to recover if I have to again, though you try not to ever have to fall back to that option, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Yeah, that's just a little. The biggest problem on this is that this bend that I've got up here, it's it's like 2 or 3 different bends in one, and it's got a variable radius in it, and there's a kick in here. So yeah, even if I put the sim tray back in there and try to straighten it out, it's just going to really misbehave. So let's see if we can find a miracle cure for this chap. He could do with a he could do with a win. What do we got here? This nice looking. Yeah, it actually is pretty damn nice looking. This screen's got a crack in it, so we won't give him that. We'll put a new screen on. As soon as I can get the captain tape off. Personally, I don't mind that the 6 series was so bendable, because at least you can bend them back in most cases. Oh, cool. Yeah, I know exactly what one this one is. Cool. This is a data recovery one I did the other night, and the person left the chassis for me. They said, oh, well, here you go, have the chassis. So, I ended up getting a win. Looks like I'm missing the Vibe driver, the Taptic engine or whatever they call it. There's no bend in this, is there? Yeah. Nothing significant. Bend the good one. What? You want me to bend this one? I'm not bending this one. I'll bend the bent one. How's that? To make sure it's never used again. Well, there may be a lot of screws in these iPhones, but I'm still happier to do this than I am things like HTCs and whatnot, where they've just got nothing but adhesive, and yeah, that stuff's just nasty. Okay, this is the screw that has that odd head I'm talking about. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, there we go. See how it's got a very different... Yeah, it's very shallow. So this is a normal one, and this is the extra shallow one. And so that's where this driver comes into play. It's still not great, believe me, but if you try to get that out with the normal conical tip one, you see there's no wall contact, so it just sits and spins, where it's fine for that. And that's why you need this short top one, and you can actually get in on it. Because I don't know why they're putting that sort of screw in there in the first place. Very vet 69. What sort of dramas are you running into with your Mac? Swiftrick, I haven't seen it. I know of the advert, but I haven't seen it. It's like, I don't really want to spend my time doing that. But other things on YouTube I'd rather watch. Like Lewis losing at Dota when he's trying desperately hard to become good at it. In fairness, I'm terrible at Dota as well, but that doesn't mean I can't laugh. He's actually not too bad at it, from what I can gather. Certainly better than me. HTC, hot glue the case. Oh man, that's actually a good one. I like that. I'll pay. I'm not going to pay for that, but yeah, I like that. Richard T, running on battery powers. Big storm here. Wanted to say hello. Need to keep the power levels down. Take care. Well, good luck with the storm. We're coming into that season up here as well, and it's always a reminder to me that I haven't gotten myself a sufficient self-managed power system here. I only need about $20,000-$30,000 for a nice... I probably need about 40 kilowatt hour of power in this place. Yeah, 40 kilowatt hour should about do it. Speaking of Lewis, the floor is turning into a disaster. Oh yeah, the creaking one. Yeah, that was not good. I'd be spitting chips as well. Yeah, no doubt they're going to tell him, oh, it'll settle out. You know, just use it for a couple of months and it'll be fine. It'll stop squeaking like a tortured madman. But they never do, and even if they do, it'll start doing something else somewhere else. It'll just be more hell to deal with, especially when you're paying the amount of money he's paying. I mean, what is he like? How much is he paying? About $60,000-$70,000 for all this? Hey, Off-Hour, welcome. New to this, as in new to live chat in general, live streaming, or just this particular channel? Yep. I'm gonna have to do something about the back. Ideally a floor of tongue grew plywood. No, that would be much better. I'm sure someone's going to be dumb and suggest self-leveling concrete again. Big timber frames on concrete bases tend to squeak. They do, but you can compensate for it. I guess that's what I would expect they'd be paying for. I'm thinking they didn't put enough leveling wedges in there. And they've probably decided, oh well, we're just gonna go with 2-foot centers on our wedges rather than every foot, because making the wedges is a pain in the butt. You sit there and cut them down, test them, check the level, adjust them, so on and so forth, and you get sick of that after a while. So they're probably, let's go 2-foot centers, and that's probably what's happened. What time is it here? It's 1:45 actually. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. A friend was a commercial real estate, and he had a specific binder that contractors had to follow regarding what products they. Yeah. Not surprised. I think you probably get burnt enough times. At least they didn't put the OSB vertically. Where would they put that vertically? Oh, you mean for like the wall, sheeting the walls? Or do you mean as they try to use OSB joists or something like that? Come on, I forget. I hate trying to get this small bits of glass off the home button. You gotta do it. If you don't do it and you put it back together, and you'll probably end up with a crack down here after a while. And the customer will come back and they will say, it was just charging on my nightstand and it broke. And in that case, it legitimately would be your fault. But of course, you would post it up on the various phone forums saying, look at this stupid customer and telling me that it's my fault, it just broke on the nightstand. Meanwhile, secretly you realise you know that it was your own fault because you didn't get the glass out. Oh yeah, Greg, I have seen them using the OSB on the walls and then with the wrap around it, the Tyvek wrap or whatever it is. I mean, I can see OSB is a really convenient material for a lot of things, but I would not want to be using it for any sort of... not in the way they try to use it structurally. Then again, I don't know the properties of that stuff well enough. We don't really get it here in Australia that I can see. Probably for good reason. Okay, black IP6. Let's see, we used OSB in the kitchen, the waterproof stuff with screws and trusses, and it still started to get soft. Yeah. I'm not surprised, because it just inherently lacks that long grain stability that wood would normally provide, and which is why plywood still wins out. Get a second pair of tweezers, Paul, that always helps. No time to get the focus on the microscope. There we go. Ah, dangling bit of snot there. So you have got some OSB from a shipping crate. Oh yeah, that would make sense to be able to get it from there, yeah. I mean, yeah, for things like sheds, walls, and things like yeah, stuff that's not going to be what you're living in every day, then yeah, I can see it being useful and cheap. But I wouldn't want it in my house as a material I'm depending on long term. This has got to be the slowest screen replacements I've done in a long time. I'm blaming everybody on chat. Maybe Lewis should have contracted the primitive technology guy to do the floor. Yeah, then you'd have a fire duct going in under there, and yeah, you'd have to redo your own bricks every 6 months. That primitive technology guy is not too far north from here. I'm sure a lot of people have gone up trying to find him too. Hopefully he's well hidden away from the idiots. Is that no added formaldehyde? So it's kind of like no added MSG on products. Doesn't mean it doesn't have MSG. That cheese inherently has it. Anyway, not I'm saying anything against OSB on that regard. This is interesting when people say no added stuff. But you're trying, from a marketing perspective, you're trying to imply that there's none at all. Well, you can have your MSG. Like I said, it's damn it, just liquid mix just went into. The trouble with these squeezy bottles is that the vapor pressure of the alcohol tends to cause it to push out bits of liquid periodically, and it's usually marginal while it's sitting on the desk, but then as soon as you move it and then put it back down, that's when it pushes over the threshold and it just gives out a little bit of a whoopsie squirt sort of thing. Yeah, and having whoopsie squirts out of this isn't the best thing. What I normally do is when I'm done with it, I just twist it back just a quarter of a turn, not even that, an eighth of a turn, and that causes the air to then go in, and it stops it from having the little whoopsie squirts. Damn it, where's my tape? Yeah, I can't think of a better term to use other than whoopsie squirt. Sort of when you think you're finished with it, you put it away, and then you move it a bit, and then whoops, a little squirt. Bedbug has the same problem. Oh, shame. It's wrong tool, Paul. You never used those tweezers. You got lazy, didn't put them down. Use your spudger, man. Use your spudger. I gotta yell at myself occasionally. Stop myself trying to get away with doing dumb things because I'm too lazy. Okay. There's probably some iPhone repair kiosk people watching this, or they may watch it in the future, and they will be bleeding from the eyes and the brain right now because they'll be like, "Why taking it so long? It took more than 5 minutes. Why? You're killing me." There's definitely something I like about the nature of my job here, is that I can afford to take the time to at least do a reasonable job on these things. Even if it's not the perfect job, it's better than some of the trash I've seen coming out. Okay. Am I excited to the prospect of a portless iPhone? I'm ambivalent at this point. Oh man, junk, where did you come from? You just stick there. Nope, too much junk in there. I'm ambivalent. I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out. You know, maybe they'll have a port internally or something. God damn, so many fluffy hairs in here, it's not funny. And the port isn't even lined in right. Ah. But it's certainly something to watch for. I guess Apple is trying more and more to essentially push everybody to the cloud. Which in many ways is probably not a bad thing, given how many people lose their data because they don't care to do their own backups. Swiftwick, I always say I'll not bend my new tweezers and end up bending them. Yep. Yeah. You try hard, you do. You're like, oh, I love you little tweezers, you're the best, I'm never gonna hurt you. And then you're in a hurry at some point, and yeah, you got a delicate moment and you just need something to nudge something, and so you decide then and there that you will risk your tweezers and hope that maybe nothing bad's going to happen to them, and then they get bent. Tell them they're dreaming. Yeah, that would be about right. Good old castle style. Okay. The problem I've got here is we need a battery, and I'm not too sure what my battery status is. Let's see if I can flog one from something else. Oh, I've got enough. Normally I have a few test ones. I'm hidden behind the little box on the side here. They're probably 6S's though. No, you are 6G. Okay, cool. What about you? This looks like it's in good condition. Manufactured end of 2017. This is an original. It has been pulled. I don't think I can trust it. Wayne, yeah, I've got one of those. These things. Yeah. They're actually just fishing hook sharpeners. But they work conveniently well for tweezers as well. Paul puts the battery strips on the right way after spending many months doing it the wrong way. I used to put the strips down into the chassis and then try to line the battery up first hit. I was like, nope, That's not how you do it, Paul. Sometimes you just, for some reason, you miss the obvious, and I certainly missed the obvious there for a while. Plug it in. You put solution on the skin. See, we've got Silence of the Lambs fans. I wonder how many people who use that saying actually know it is from Silence of the Lambs. Because I mean, that movie's pretty old now, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the reference is long lost on many people. Or it gets the ultrasonic again. Was that your pen to mark? Yes, it is, Matthew. Yeah. It's just a UV pen. So nothing overly special. But at least it lets me know if I'm getting back my own device in the future. Because I have had a few jobs where people have tried to pull a Swiftie on me. Where they would take the repaired screen off and then they would plug in their friend's broken screen, bring it back to me and say, this just broke off the nightstand. It's unfortunate when people do that because it really does lead to a very uncomfortable situation. So anyway, by putting my own marks in here with the UV pen, it does sort of catch out the idiot ones. Let's see if we get a boot. We got a boot. Yay! The real problem on this one is how long will that motherboard last after that sort of level of bend. Hey, Blade AVY. Hey, lady. Yeah. You're not equipped. Oh. Okay. It's for Nikki.
Yep.
It's 139. Still booting. You shouldn't show us your UV signature. Inastos, if you're in my region, then yeah, I think I've probably got other issues to deal with. Besides, who's to say that I use the same one? Disabled phone. Still, it's working. Alright, looks fine. Great. Yeah, they got themselves a cheap temporary reprieve. Let's clean up my desk a little more, toss away the trash. Oh wait, I can't throw myself in the bin. Where's that other chassis? Where's that bent one? an iPhone 7 Plus. It seems my flash and rear camera do not work. Should I swap the flex or the camera? Yeah, don't really know. It's one of those things where it could be either or. Maybe both even if you're unlucky. Really, I tend not to have immediate solutions with a lot of these things. It's more a case of I sort of go, well, let's swap two parts, swap a part, see what happens. Is it that? Oh.
I'm not sure why it shut down.
It shut down?
Yeah, I did 48202
yeah.
and it told me it was the wrong one, so I did it again and then it shut down.
It's probably running out of battery power. Might not been sitting in there properly. No, it's got plenty of battery power. Oh, I think I know why. Sometimes it's like one digit off, and then when it just sometimes misbehaves. Marley's in here. It'll be ready in a second. Almost there. Okay, 139 I think it was.
That's going to cancel out before I get to her.
Sorry?
It's going to cancel out.
It might not. There you go. It does take a while. We just had FPOS machine issues. Sometimes they misbehave. So, let's see. I found tweezers from the early 60s in a customer basement and gave them to me. Build quality, amazing. Yeah, well, they would have been back then. Spectator, yes, that was my significant other, my better half. Does anyone know why onboard speakers in a diagnostic machine would be grounded on both sides? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm blushing. I think that's probably... don't misconstrue blushing with confusion and anger. There we go. This is the new Motorola curved phone. Conformal to your head. In the bin. And the battery can go too. I probably should pack that up actually properly. Heat stroke, that's another one, yeah. Alright, so we had let's see, the liquid damage was just a bad screen, so we'll get that one swapped out now. No, you're an iPhone 7. Bugger off. What was this one? Was this the Ghoster? That was the Ghoster. Where'd the liquid damage one go? Alrighty. I should really just call this place the Bermuda Triangle because stuff just goes vanishing around here. There we go. Yep. Okay. Come on, pick it up, pick it up. Well, this is definitely turning into a bit of a quiet stream. So I'll try and find something to solder later. Okay, so we've got a dud display. Just get that changed over. I guess the first thing I should really do is put that motherboard back in. That will clear up all the space on my magnetic pad. How many iPhones in the pile? Well, I've got 2, including basically this one and one more. And then we should be done. And that should result in a pretty reasonable, normal sort of day of income. So basically, anything else I earn on top of today would be a nice bonus. So, but 4 iPhones is a good start. I just buy these magnetic pads as you get a pack of 10 A4 magnetic pads for about $20 or something like that, and then I just dice them up into smaller sizes because the full A4 sheet is a little bit overwhelming. It takes up far too much bench space. Okay. And for those of you out there who've got copies of Flex Boardview, I am getting a new version ready to go. It's going to be visually a little bit different, not majorly, but I'm also going to try and... What is going on here? I feel like a complete imbecile right now. Yeah, I'm going to try and load up the OB data stuff with the extra diagnostics sequences and stuff like that. But I want to add a few more before I let it out. That took way too long just to put that screw back in. Way too long. Oh, it was one of those shallow ones. There's probably a lot of robots watching, that's what's going on. Right, that's where you are. I was wondering where the standoff was, and it's stuck to the shield still. It doesn't want to let go of the shield. That's fine. We have ways of making it let go. Get out our really nice long nose pliers. This job is definitely one of those jobs where you really do appreciate spending that bit of extra money to get good quality tools to do the jobs. You know, get the right sort of tools to do the jobs. Like, I mean, even down to just, you know, needle nose pliers, things like that. Getting the right ones makes life so much better. I know it's not always possible up front, but certainly, you know, as time goes by, you try your best to pick up the best things you can, as long as it's relevant. I mean, there's no point spending $6,000 on a what do you call it, soldering iron when you really only need to spend $600 to get exactly the same sort of performance. Yeah, today's not the day. That little plastic hold down that sits over the board, on this one has actually broken. So I'll just steal it from another one that isn't broken. Like here. Okay, thank you. I was just thanking my wife for handling that situation, because it's a long way to the other side of the house, and so it was very good of her to deal with it for me. It's to her advantage as well anyway. This way, the more I make, the more she can get some awesome Digikey and kitchen warehouse stuff. I should rather say the more I get paid, the more she gets paid for maintaining everything else that I need to have maintained in order to be able to do my job properly. Robot or not, you're getting better numbers than Eli. Ah, shame, poor Eli. Poor guy. Sort of everything just seemed to unravel on him. I don't know whether it was his own doing or what, but I don't really know much of the backstory. I probably know more about the mukbang wars between various mukbangers than I do between Lewis and Eli. I will certainly do so, Travis. I'll give out secret signals if I'm actually being abused. But no, we're all good. Okay, that's in. What else? Oh, right, that was just putting the board in. Blimey heck. Still got to do the screen. Oh, man. It's taking forever. I gotta admit, I would not like to do this every day, all day. Like, if you said to me, you're going to have 5 iPhone screens to replace every day for the rest of your working life, I'd probably go mad. I mean, they're not the worst, but as you can see, unless they're straightforward jobs, they can really chew up the time. So be sure to tell us your safe word. I was going to say, don't you mean safe word? Yeah. TriStar. No TriStars here today. I don't get a lot of TriStars at all, in fact. So it is still a bit of a novelty to get them. And I don't even have a TriStar tester, and to be honest, I wouldn't want one. I mean, there's sort of TriStar testers are kind of like a semi-useful tool, but I do worry about the false positive behavior of them. I'd rather just do the diagnosis the normal way, just by differential diagnosis. I change the battery, change the dock, check the charge rate, can you get communication to the PC, and determine whether or not you got a TriStar issue from that sort of thing, because you pretty much have to do it anyway. So may as well just stay with that, and I don't know. I mean, I admire the person that came up the TriStar tester, because I know that would have been a fair bit of work for him to do, a lot of messing around and working out the various probabilities, the various thresholds, things like that. And it sounds like it was probably a fun project for him, in all honesty. But as a tool to depend on, as a make or break, whether do we replace this or don't we, it's not something I would rely on. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, the hit or miss factor is just. I'd rather take the extra minute or two, open it up, try a different dock, try a different battery, use the USB current meter, and then the PC to determine how things are going. And if you're still not sure, then well, you just go in and replace the TriStar. Yeah, Spectator, that's... Like I said, I think it would have been a fun project for him, and it's the sort of thing I would have... I know I've done that sort of stuff in the past. With the model aircraft field, I had a battery internal resistance checker, and it was a similar sort of thing. But at the same time, again, it was also a little bit... God damn these bastards and their goddamn stupidly sticky stuff. Why? It's not even funny. It's worse than Tessa tape. Yeah, so I had these battery internal resistance meters that you just plug into the charging port on a lithium pack, and yeah, they gave some indication of how things were going, particularly if there was an imbalance, but there were plenty of issues associated with it as well. And so it was a bit of a more of a guideline than anything else. Worse than Lewis's unremovable stickers. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, like I said, I just don't know why they put them there. Come on, one more. Ah, you lousy little mongrel. Okay. Home button in. See, Steve K is a man of a happy marriage. If you're wondering, 90% of my screens that I buy are all the refurbished type, more like 95% in fact. If I can't get a refurb, then I'll get the highest end third party when I can. I still generally do not like, I just generally prefer to use aftermarket, not aftermarket, refurbished ones. Less drama. Come on, get in there, you squishy bunch of cables and trash. Alright, now we do the wiggle dance until everything locks together. How much are the refurbs generally? Pedro, depends on which ones you're getting. But they're still typically the most expensive option on the supplier lists. And like I said, I've got no problem with that. I don't play the go cheap game. It's just, I mean, as a kid I would. And that's just the thing. So when you initially start out with business, most of the time you usually try the whole, I can do things cheaper. And you often can, because you've got none of the overheads of a proper place. But you should typically start to realise fairly quickly that you're better off making a profit, and for the right reasons. Like, I know when I was doing the repairs here for the screens for a while, there was another couple who decided they were going to do glass only type replacements, and so they would quote people some prices that were naturally extraordinarily cheaper than what I was quoting. And so all of a sudden we had all these people flocking over to this new place, and I wasn't too panicked. I was like, oh yeah, I can see where this is going to go. And then sure enough, within a couple of weeks, so many of those glass only replacements were either peeling off, failing, or particularly with the case of the Samsung type ones, they were doing the whole go purple situation, whatever. And so the downside is, of course, the community then ran out of money for a while because they'd spent it all on this other place. And the other thing is, often the other place, they would, it was a bit of a bait and switch. They'd quote for the glass only replacement, people would go in there and drop off their device, and then when they'd come back they'd go, oh, we had to do a full panel replacement, and so jack the price right up, obviously. And so they'd end up getting the customers going in thinking it was going to be cheap, and then basically stripping them of their money because it was, people in that sort of situation go, well, I just want my phone back, so here's the money. I guess maybe that was the smarter business trick. Alright, let's plug this in. Okay. Well, we do have charge symbol coming up. Okay, this one here. Need to put a sticker on this so I don't forget who it's for. So what they were doing might have been considered as unethical, but in terms of business it was smarter in some ways. Okay. Alright, so that's the liquid damage one. Now we have to do the ghosting one. In terms of keeping inventory, it's not probably that bad, because, at least not for me, because I do have overnight shipping option from my supplier, and I just take that. Most of the times they'll get here overnight. Every now and then I'll botch it up. Okay, so in a oh, that was loud and nasty. This is 4162. 4162 to liquid damage. No display. Better put the date on there too. 20200104. Let's see, missed some comments up here, sorry folks. Hey Patrick W, oh thank you. starting out the MacBook specifics of electronics. Okay, you reading the Rossman book, or sorry, not sure exactly which one you're talking of there. Aha. Alright, here we go. Last run of the dreary live stream. At least we hope. This is the Ghost Touch one. Let's watch this one turn into something completely different. Maybe if we're lucky it's a... It could actually be a bad Mason on this. I have had that. Even though the 6 doesn't generally suffer touch well, it doesn't suffer touch disease in the same way that the 6 Plus does, they can still have issues with its Mason at times. There's 2 balls down the opposite corner of where the M1 fault normally appears, on the chip at least. And they just seem to end up a bit corroded, a bit oxidized. And so you take the Mason off, you reball it and put it back down, and it's all good again. But it's not that common. I think I've only had about 3, maybe 4 of those. Hey Prater. G'day Dan. Oh man, you got a bend in this? Damn it. Damn these people bending their iPhones. Yeah. So I'll plug this one in and see what happens. Oh right, you're from the aerospace industry. Certainly some juicy amount of money going around in that area. At least you get a legal pass on using leaded solder too. Alright, this phone appears to be good. This is the one that was apparently liquid damaged. Yep, seems like that's working. Where do these people hide the settings? People who nest stuff into very deep settings. Seems to work. I will make a copy of the data though before I send it back to them. Just in case something's missed. Hey, look. Okay. It's that one. This one's got no charge. This one's got junk in its charge port. I do love getting the ones where you got junk in the charge port. That people bring it in, they're like, it's just stopped working overnight. And you go to plug in the lightning port and it pokes out a good millimeter or 2 and you're like, well, yep, that one's going to be difficult for me to do, so sit back, come back in an hour or 2 and we might have some good luck for you. Can we trade middle names? You do not like yours. So you can always change yours, just like I changed mine. I didn't have one. No, I said to my parents, I said, I don't approve of the fact that I don't have a middle name. So I want my middle name and I get to pick it. As suppose that was a bit precocious for a kid that's 7 years old. Okay, this is the audio IC iPhone 7. Because this is going to take a little bit of time to charge up, I suspect. Alright, audio IC. What's the current... what is the current stance on which ports, which pins get fixed up and which ones don't? Because now I keep hearing anything between 4, people saying do all 4 because you never know, particularly with iOS 13 coming out, what sort of crazy changes they've made. And then I hear people saying you only need the 1 now. Do a ball and cup live. No thanks. Wow. That's... oh, that's because Mr. Daniels has already been here and he changed the TriStar and he left a bit of DNA in there. Doesn't look like mine though. Okay, so there's our precious little frustrating audio IC. And of course we've got the baseband CPU on the other side, which people seem to cook, and I am quite likely to do the same myself. I've also seen people using the solder blob method to get it off. Not so sure I'm keen on doing that with that chip. And I suppose if you've got spares, then that's fine. You can do that and you just, write off the chip and put a new one down. But, yeah. The thing with D12, well, that's, great. Is D12 the thing that they're talking about now with iOS 13? I have a feeling it is. Okay. Yep, I think I'll pull that way. They usually had some slightly bent tweezers that I would do it with. D12 is just a 1v8 power pad. Yeah, that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense then. I wonder, can you get away with... obviously I don't do these too often, so this is a practice unit. Can you get away with doing like the hook lift, like you do with the baseband CPU? You just like... which one's the finer one? This one down there. Yeah, you put your tweezer under there and then it just levers off. Or do people still recommend the proper grab lift? I mean, I'm a big fan of the drop lift method. Only on the trouble I have with it on this is that you're holding on to a glass chip the whole time. And they don't like being held onto like that. So we've got drop, lift, micro scissors. Yeah, it seems like everybody's got their own technique. Alright, I think it's more of a technique choice than an actual right or wrong. Ray likes the hammer method. That would work. Now, just to stop the screamers, we'll stick our pedantic shield there. So many screamers. X-Acto knife edge to the lever, it by the whole edge, distribute the load. I don't have an X-Acto that's going to be quite that good, so I'm going to be using these tweezers perhaps and see if I can just get it to come up. Whoops, jammed in under there. It seems, yes indeed. So I'm glad I asked that of everybody, because at least that way now when I'm doing it, I'm not going to have people going, why is he doing it that way? I think I might need to up my heat or air. This is taking way too long. Shit. Doesn't take long to go from not melted to we're on our way. Yeah, so we nudged a few things, that's okay. And that chip is out of here. Yeah, fortunately, in spite of the slide, it didn't knock any of these parts up here, which was what the real concern was. Not that it couldn't be fixed, but it's more a case of it'd be nice not to have to in the first place. Yeah, chasing him under the shield, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's why I was like happy that they hadn't actually slipped back. In spite of the fact that this is just my own phone, I've still got the shakes a bit, and that's annoying. Maybe I've just got performance anxiety. You know, being on live stream and all, people watching. That sort of stuff that supposedly you got to care about. If I cared that much, I'd wear a different shirt instead of this one that I keep wearing. Music helps. Yeah, music also helps get you demonetized, doesn't it? Yeah. But no, you're right. It does help. See if that phone's charged up yet. It has. Seems like they've got Touch ID issues. Oh yeah, of course they would, because it's a different screen. It seems to be behaving perfectly fine. Yeah, Rob Brown, I imagine letting the board cool is probably a good idea, so at least you start adding things elsewhere to still be at a bit of a threshold of melting. And let's see. Who's giving out too much information? It's actually two of them. F12 jumped to E12. I don't know. I'll definitely want to change shirt before that happens. If we're going to put something... Normally I do... Oh man. Is connection crapping out? I don't know, is it? Might be YouTube. Seems okay now? Could have been YouTube. Okay, it might be the battery, I'm not sure. Look at it. What, I'm gonna write it down. You guys actually say it. Which are the jumpers that I need to be doing today? And I'll write it down. CFHJ. CFHJ. Okay, well, they're obviously all 12 because they're on that row. This is Ubuntu. Okay, so CFHJ. Blimey heck. Alrighty. No one said this was fun, right? Kind of curious, do you bother to... I'm kind of curious of the behaviour now. Do we bother to even scratch at the trace when we can simply just go straight to the part? I mean, why not go straight to the part? I'm just asking because, like I say, I don't do this enough. Normal sort of policy is you scratch back and then, reinforce the trace, but given that they're all exposed traces that I can see, as in they're on the top side, why not just go straight to the part? Scratch now, pulled a few ends off the resistors, alright. Okay. No, see, I mean, that there is a perfectly good reason why not to do it, but, why I asked. Ah. So I see we've got a couple people who still don't mind going straight to the part. So I guess it depends on how you go about it, whether you're left or right-handed too might help. So I mean, I could easily just do that. The downside is this is enameled stuff. Ah. I mean, enameled's all great and all, but so many times I don't need enameled. It'd be good if they sold this wire with no enamel on it. Now I've got to find myself a little metal plate. Normally I've got a stripping plate here somewhere. It would appear I do not. Well, just going to the pads and see how it goes. This is not a customer job, this is my own, so I end up watching it and start to be it. I think it might be the wire. I think the problem of the transmitter might actually be the wire. I think I've dropped it a few too many times. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, the audio dropped out just then because I changed the batteries again. And lost my wire. Alright. It's strange, it's coming up on the thingamajig. I have a horrible feeling it's going to be the audio cable, but what I'll do is I'm going to go downstairs and I will get some very fresh batteries and see how we go. Alright, let's see how that goes. Like I said, still a 50-50 chance it's going to be a cable issue. If it does it again, it'll definitely be a cable issue, I'm afraid. Lost the wire. So, not holding the right posture right now for this. Come on, Paul. Redo it. Redo it. Realign. I think half the problem is when you use a piece of wire that's simply too big. Because you get that sort of springing effect. Counterweight, spring. So maybe if I just use a piece that's only like that long. And naturally the other piece is now flown away. I also think I might have been just a bit too close in. Prefer to stay out a little bit, so it gives me a bit of a better perspective. What other products have you repaired in your career? Yeah, I've never, prior to doing this whole MacBook thing, I really didn't do a huge amount of repairs. I was more manufacturing, design. So this is more new news sort of stuff to me. I mean, I'd fix up some things, but mostly it was just my own fixing up the faults of the my own stuff. Particularly when you design something and then you realise, hey, that's not working how it should. Need a little bit of extra solder on my tip there. A whole bunch of different things, but on in model aircraft I did a fair bit. But I also did some custom projects for people, like animal tracking systems. And probably my biggest flop was the low ohms resistance meter. The market just wasn't right for it. My own dumb fault. I sort of got started with it for myself and then it kind of got out of hand and I ended up wasting a fair bit of money on that. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Just trying to be sure I get some leaded solder onto those resistors, or whatever they are under there. But I can't. Okay, that's good. Can't just go and shove things in aggressively, else it'll detach them. Yeah, like it does help a lot, and it's why I don't tend to be quite so anti-Apple, or not so much anti-Apple. I mean, as a business, as a company, yeah, their business practices drive me insane. But in terms of the engineering of their products, I don't quite have the level of vitriol that some people have. Have any experience with 20-year-old Yamaha receivers? Yeah, not really, Greg. I've had a couple myself, but audio gear is never my strong point. especially when you're kind of half deaf. And furthermore, I generally preferred working on Marantz gear. I had some Yamaha stuff, but I always found it a little bit too sterile for my liking. Which in fairness means probably the Yamaha was the better gear, but my ears preferred the warmth of the Marantz at the time. I guess it's a bit like people preferring valve gear over silicon gear. The same sort of reasons. That artificial bias in the colouring and the sound. It's not really the true sound, but you just feel like it. You just like it better. Man, my favourite tweezers are massive in comparison to these little midget ones that I use. Yeah, Matthew, that was the intent of the low ohms meter. It had a resolution of around about 10 micro ohms, so it was good enough for what we do. The downside is well, once you start paying over a couple of $100, most people just end up buying a meter that has 4-wire resistance check on it anyway. So I was sort of encroaching on the market that was already well filled. Okay, so that's my 4. So push that back in a little more. Got a little bit of a poke out there, which I'm not happy about. But other than that, I think that's tolerable. Let's give it a bit of a flush out with some alcohol. Alcohol. Okay, I've got the alcohol, I haven't got the toothbrush. Toothbrush. Sonia, the Marantz stuff I had that I liked was nothing fancy. It was the PM57 amplifier. It was actually more of a preamp, I think. And the CD63, I think it was, CD63 player. It was a really nice low power combination that worked well with the music that I like to listen to. I hooked them up to some KEF Q20 speakers, I think it was. It's 20 years ago now. I'm starting to forget. Now my knife blade is snapped at the tip, so I'm going to have to change it so that I can get in and nip off those little bits of little dags off the end of the wire past the pads. I mean, as it was, I was just blunt force smushing those little wires off. So at least this way I can actually cut them off. Alright, fresh blade. So we just want to nick off these tiny little end bits here there, so you just barely got to touch it and it comes away. And that one's gone too. And I ran my finger along the blade edge, which means I've probably lost my finger now. Oh well. There's one up here too. There we go. That's the beauty of a nice sharp blade. Sound is a personal choice. I completely agree, yes. Still use my Sony 7.1 system, not as fancy as new modern ones. It's still going strong. Yeah, well, my PM57 CD63 combo was just a 2-channel, but then again I was just playing CDs, so it goes with the territory. Okay, well, at this point we just, I suppose, need to reball the chip, and then let's see. I suppose I should put down some microscopic dots of green goo. I'm just going to see if that's alcohol or flux at the back there. Kind of feels half fluxy. And flush it out some more. Yeah, Matthew, you get a lot of that kind of biased behaviour with everything. The reason why I'm trying to dry this off is because I don't only putting the green goo down on top of too much flux and other liquid. And it just comes racing on back. Oh well. Alright, green goo. Okay, Predator, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, I agree, Travis. The black goo would be better. But green goo is what we got. And we've got a monstrous size drop there. Fortunately, we do have the freshly rebladed knife. Yeah, that liquid's gonna just keep getting in my way there. Nah. Okay, it's time to UV bake this thing. Where are you, my little UV lamp? I don't know how effective that tiny couple of dots are going to be, but I guess we'll see. As long as it holds those wires long enough that they don't just become short circuits, it's worth. Great, someone's trying to call me. That's not on. Custom. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sorry folks, I just do have to run business at the same time, blah blah blah, same time. So I have to deal with getting things in and out. Let's see. All done. Okay, and the next one. Right. Okay, now UV cure should be done. Oh man, ice cream. I haven't had ice cream in a couple of days. I'm hankering for it. Trying to be responsible and not have too much sugar intake. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a bit of a mess here. Now what we're going to have to do is reball that chip. And hopefully it's in an acceptable condition after I just butchered it getting it off. And hopefully I have a stencil for it. I must have, because I've reballed these before. I just don't recall having explicitly bought an iPhone 7, or maybe I have actually. Oh, I know why, because, yeah. That's an A9, yeah. So I've got the A9 stencils here. Come on. First thing I'm going to do is clean up that chip. Hopefully I didn't chip the chip. Seems tolerable. Back to the filter. You forget how loud that filter is and when you leave it off for a bit. Seems like the audio files have taken over the channel. Just cleaning up my paste spatula. Audio files are people too. Ha, yeah. Sure they are. I guess the thing is you have your real audio files and then you have your Chartolin audio files. There's just a few specks of lead sitting over the top of some of those balls and well, the pits, and I didn't want them becoming part of the balls that were formed because a few specks is more than enough to push the ball sizes up quite a bit. I mean, there's still a few specks left there, but not like there was before I wiped it away. Yeah, there's a couple of bumps in there, but I think we'll get away with it. Chip goes the other way up, Paul. Goes down this way. But we need a drop of flux in there. So let's squeeze this out and get all shaky about it. It's heaps. And it really is heaps. Just give it a little bit of heat to start with, just to get that flux to flow. And then I'll... Right. Now, because my real concern here is that I've got now too much flux. Yeah. No, Joseph, that's pretty much it. I mean, I can zoom in more, like this sort of thing, but pretty much what you see on camera or on the stream, it's a maximal letterbox version of what I'm seeing. I mean, obviously I see the full round, kind of like, yeah, blah blah blah. Oh, good on you, Paul. Just smash the... Okay, here we go. I suppose I'll put the shield on just so people don't cry. I'm still using the same setting as when I took it off, which was 420 and something. 420 and 30 or something like that. But realistically, everybody's going to have a different setup, because it depends how close you're getting to it, what angle you're on, what the ambient temperature of the day is. Yeah, there's a million different things. This is not sat down properly. And that, or it's... those caps just seem a bit close. I guess we'll find out. Then again, that cap did get shifted across. Yeah, which means I probably left it on a heat bit long. Oh well. That cap is sitting just a wee bit... I don't know if this is conductive on the glass. Like the RAM chips are conductive on top. I don't think the glass is, but it's just a tad close to me. So let's try to give it a bit of a pushback. This is how being pedantic ruins your day. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop, because I can just see what's going to happen there, and I don't want it to happen. We're going to take that risk. Did a CD 3215 for 420 just for the Lars. First time I did it work perfectly. I think the hardest thing of 420 is, just trying to get enough heat into the board for it to even move. I forgot to take the stupid foam off. Oh well. Alcohol. Well, there's long screw damage in there. I've never seen long screw damage in that hole before. Down here. How did they even manage that? Hey babe.
There's a young man here.
Jake. Yeah. Yep. 119.
Hopefully I don't mess up with that.
That's okay. It's just what it sometimes is it absorbs the first press to activate it, and then you put in all the other numbers, and it ends up only being 5 digits on there. So
What happens again? I just run it into
no.
so 119.
Yeah, it's on the back. Yeah. I love how YouTube just wiped out that comment of yours. Like, looks like YouTube doesn't like negative comments about itself. What's on your... Yeah, I'm a little worried about that one. I guess we'll see. But this is a very high density area for signals, so that would not surprise me one little bit. Maybe it wasn't audio IC fault after all. Oh well, we'll see. Like I said, I don't even know how they managed to do that. Because you've only got the 2 screws up there, and they're both the same size, as far as I know. I think. Home button screws missing. Wonder if I can get away with not putting the sensor flex back on. I've got the home button. What more does it possibly want from me? Ah, this touch screen's jacked anyway. I mean this... Oh, it says working. Okay. Apparently it's a working screen. You do need a battery though. 7+. Joseph, I removed all the foam because it was already dead. It was melted. It basically served no real purpose at this point. And it was all melted because of the fact that I didn't take it off prior to doing the work I was doing. Well, we've got an Apple logo, so at least I didn't completely fire truck it up. But it looks like it's still boot looping. I'm boot looping. Is it boot looping because I don't have a sensor cable on? Guess I'll find out. I'll plug it in. That's not. Where is that sensor cable? Wait, what's going on here? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm not really a Queenslander. I mean, I've been here a long time, but I'm not a Queenslander. Hey, the Angel of Space. I just plugged the sensor flex in. But I get the feeling it's not playing ball, it's just looping. Alright, don't know what's going on there. I'm guessing the audio IC can cause that. No, that's what I mean, Rob. It's just looping. It's not even... Yeah. No, I'm not from Victoria. I'm not far off though, but I'm not from Victoria. So we take the audio IC off and have a look. Yeah, that's my thought as well. Though that long screw damage does concern me. There we go. Violet's on the mark. No, I'm actually a South Australian. Shock horror for people, but yeah, I am. I just feel like the IC didn't sit properly. You can tell you. Yeah, it just feels it's a little further up here than it is here. Where we go again? I'm thinking it's a cable issue. There's no reason this audio should be failing. Swiftwick born in Zimbabwe. Yeah, back when it was called Rhodesia, no doubt. Yeah, I'm just chipping the hell out of this. Well, at least my traces stayed put, so I'm happy about that. That's good. I might put a fresh audio IC down. H12 and J shorted together? Nope, they're not shorted, they're fine. It probably looks a bit confusing because of the goo between them, but no, they're fine. Okie dokie doke. Yeah, I see Mugabe's dead now. Not that it's really done much. I think it's just going to be a case of the same old with a new face. And South Africa's not exactly going to put any weight into that. Can't be going and saying bad things about your fellow revolutionaries. That's the trouble with revolutionary type parties is once a revolutionary party has managed to take over something, the government, that's precisely when the revolutionary party needs to be disbanded, because otherwise they just carry on as if they're in this perpetual revolution, which they're not. But they can't stop it. They can't stop themselves. They're like, we're in a revolution. I mean, you listen to the way in South Africa that the various ANC party gatherings go, and it's all basically like they're still, back in the days of apartheid, whatever you want to. It's just that's what they know, and yeah, the fact that they don't actually have a revolution to go with just seems to mess everything up. Yeah, exactly. The party that you need to do a revolt is different to the party you need to run the country. Yeah, I didn't miss those ones intentionally. It's I don't want to mess them up. Oh, for sure. I mean, South Africa's. I mean, even though it's been 25 years, it's still got at least another 50 to go. it's a shame because there was, a lot of great hope at the end of like 96, 95 sort of thing, and everybody was loving everybody, and then it just degraded. Alright. We've got a problem. I don't think I've got any spare chips. And I just realised it's actually almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. So I actually have to get on with some other business. So unfortunately I have to leave this stream hanging, as it were. Yeah. Oops. Automatic switcher kicking in there. Yeah, so I'm going to have to leave the stream hanging because I've got to go off and do some other things before the end of the workday. And I'll have to come back to this audio IC later. Maybe I'll find a chip first before I come back to it. So thank you everyone for watching for the last 2 3/4 hours, which is actually quite a long stream for me. But yeah, cliffhanger. Well, that's the way to get people back. I mean, that's how they do it in True Blood, and it works well. But what Barlow do I use? That's a 0.7 Barlow, yeah. But so maybe later tonight, I'm not sure. We'll see how we go. But thank you all for watching, and as always, watch out for the bunyips. Don't let the dingoes drag you off into the dark dens, and I'll see you next time.